You know what they say. It's not the size of the position, it's the motion of the P&L. My ex-wife actually left me for a similar reason. The new guy, apparently had a bigger boat, but that's a story for therapy, not for you. The point is, every trader thinks the same thing when starting out. More conviction, more size equals more money. The math checks out on paper. I used to do the same thing. I would take massive size on 0 days, thinking I was the man. The truth is, I wasn't making any more money, I was just taking 10,000 paper cuts. Because the moment your position crosses what your nervous system can actually handle, you are now surviving, not trading. You move your stop loss because, I don't want to give any back. This level here. Exiting at the first green candle because you need the relief from all of the position. That's not a strategy problem. That's a size problem. I took smaller size on Tesla 0 days and I held it for 127%. Same setup, smaller size, but here's the kicker. I made more money. Why? Because I was allowed to think clearly. My nervous system wasn't overloaded. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what oversized trading does to your brain, why smaller size is actually the professional standard, and the one question you need to ask yourself for every single trade to keep your size in check. Let's get into it. Why trading smaller size is better. Most traders think the higher the confidence equals the more size. Think of this as a meter in your P&L. Let's say you normally take 1 contract, sometimes you take 5, but this time you went pedal to the metal and now you are taking 25 contracts because you were absolutely sure this play is going to work out. Same thing. Instead of taking 1 contract, you now jam 25. You think this is the play that's going to free you. But here's the thing. That thinking is wrong. It's not the size of the position, it's the motion of the P&L. My ex-wife told me something very similar after she found a guy with a bigger boat. But there's a catch here. What do I mean by the motion of the P&L? Well, P&Ls are trending by nature. Sometimes they trend up and sometimes they trend down. The key here is you need to take less size and hold longer. You need to understand this. When I'm trading 0 days, I plan to hold them. If I'm risking, let's say 40% down, okay, when I'm used to only risking 20% down, since it's a 0 day, I'm going to take half the size. Okay, the risk dollar or the percentage of your portfolio per trade is exactly the same. That way you take less size and make more money. However, most people do this. They increase the size, they hold through insane drawdown because they chased, and they eventually get bagged. So what does small size and more size do to the brain? When you take more size, the more money you have in the trade, the more you perceive it as a threat. When you have, let's say, $25,000 in 0 days, your mind thinks it's a threat because there's a chance the market could move against you probability wise. Remember, I think my win rate this year, I'll post it at some point on Twitter, it's like 88% for green days. A 12% chance that it's going to go the other way and I'm going to have a red day. That is part of the game. But your brain, remember, we grew up in caves, okay? So your brain thinks it's a threat. Someone's going to take that money from you. You're not going to be able to eat and you're going to lose your house and everything. So your mind thinks it's a threat. You actually have to build calluses on your P&L and on your size, just like you build calluses on your hand when you're working out or doing whatever. And the reason is because the fight or flight response kicks in. You ever notice when you take too much size, your heart's beating, you're intensely looking at the candles, your eyes are tired because you're staring, you're not blinking. I mean, your hands are sweaty, you can just feel your heart pounding in your chest. That is because you were taking too much size. That is a fight or flight response. Remember, your caveman brain thinks that you're going to lose food or lose your house. But there's a problem. When the fight or flight response kicks in, your decision-making framework becomes blurred. You start to think, so let's say you're in a bear flag, right? You're in a bear flag, and then it starts to pop up a little bit. You go, it must be a reversal. So you sell your puts, and now you buy calls, and it goes to the lows, right? That's classic because your decision-making framework becomes blurred. You think it's a long, it's a short, long, short, long, short, long, short, because you cannot think clearly. And lastly, any trading rule you have, no more than 3 trades, no more than X amount of dollars, etc., they go out the window because your body and your mind thinks it needs to survive. Okay, there's no rule that when we're running from tigers that you have to let someone else go in front of you. No, you're just trying to survive and feed your family. So this is what you tell yourself. When you're in that position, the reason you keep increasing that size is a couple tells. First thing is you're constantly adjusting your stop. You cannot keep your hand off the stop button or the buy button. You are just constantly clicking, but you're coping because your brain says, okay, if you're moving your stop, it's making that threat seem less and less and less. Another thing is if you find yourself, okay, say it's a bull flag, and you're selling the first pop all of your contracts, you are sizing too much because your brain wants instant relief from that pressure it is putting onto your mind. In reality, you should be holding this. And if it comes back to break even, then cut it. But that's a story for another time. Next, you were chasing the next candle because you took that bear flag, it popped out, you stopped out, and now you see at the lows. What do? You chase at the lows because you're trying to get back what was taken from you. Remember, this is all part of normal human psychology. But here's the thing. In the intro, we talked about how I made 127% on Tesla by taking less size. The key to this trade, it was a 0 day because Tesla has 0 days now, but I kept the size small. I knew if I was going to risk 30%, that I need to make 50, 60, 100% in order to make this trade work over a sample size of 1 million. Let's head to the charts. So now we're on the charts. We can see Tesla here makes a large move off the open. You can backtest this, by the way. If you look at the bottom, it is 311.12. So I took this trade for 127%. So this is what I'm seeing at this time. So I see we're breaking above the previous day high and the pre-market high. Okay, it means that the daily chart looks like this. Now, what we know what that means is the trend is likely up. But the thing is we can't just smack these breakouts. We're not that guy, especially with options, because you are paying an expensive price for that. So let's see what happens. We'll play it out slowly and slowly and slowly. We can see Tesla starts to march its way down. So it's marching its way down. If we came in here and we smacked this high a day, well, now we're sitting in drawdown. And remember, this is the first 30 minutes of the day, so we use a 3-minute chart. Okay, this is a 3-minute chart. Let me actually turn it on here so people know and they don't ask in the comments. They're going to ask no matter what because they can't read. Where is it? It's Canvas. And this is how you can turn it on, the watermark. There you go. So you can see it's a 3-minute chart. So it starts to flag out. I'm waiting for dips down to this 8 EMA. Okay, this is the 8 EMA right here. I'm looking for dips. And as we do candle by candle, we can see we get pretty close to the 8 EMA, and then the EMA starts to curl up and the candles start to curl up, breaking us out of the flag. So you're probably wondering, yo, Ellie, well, where's the entry here? Well, the entry is right here, okay? The low of this flag. I'm going to go back a couple candles, and you can see, look, see how close it is to 8 EMA right there? The distance, I mean, you literally have to zoom in with a magnifying glass, and the low of this candle was 408.13 and the 8 EMA was 407.76. So, I can go to a local poppy store and I can't even buy chips for that much money, okay? Use common sense. So we use common sense because it's a couple cents away. Boom, someone trademark it. All right, and look, it goes right to the highs. That's it. Look at that. Rushes right to the highs with the 0 days. And my target for this was 415. And we were right about there. We scaled on the way out. Sold some at the high day here. The highs. Where's the highs here? And as we went, and then we eventually got stopped out. So that's a trade. But the thing is since I took smaller size, it was 0 days, I made more. Imagine if I took 100 contracts and the trade went against me. Okay, because the market's been really choppy recently. The trade went against me. Well, I would have blasted off, a couple $1,000s in mere seconds. Okay, mere seconds. I would have ruined my whole week if I did that. But you're saying, well, Elliot, it worked. Well, this time it did. This time it did work. That's not always the case. It's not always the case. You need to understand that when you're taking a high risk 0 day, you have to size down because you're expecting to make more. If this was a weekly contract, I would have made like 30-40%. But since it was a 0 day, I made 127%. In order to make 127%, a 2-to-1 risk reward, I have to risk 50% on the underlying. That is why you take smaller size. So that's a trade. We can even look at the daily real quick, and you can see move all these lines. It's breaking over this level here on the daily. Here we go. That's exactly where it retested, held, formed a nice, beautiful flag, and boom, level to level in the chart, right to 415. So that is how you trade it. That's a trade for 127%. But the key is it's 0 days. So we sized down a little bit because we knew we'd make a lot more. That way, if it went against us and did a failed breakout, we didn't blow up our entire portfolio. Remember, if you had 20 grand in this, you wouldn't freak out. Oh, well, look at all these. You would just made up something in your head and missed this whole move. That is why you need to trade smaller size. All right, let's head back to the lecture. What does smaller size unlock? So during the trade review, I mentioned a few things, but I want to document it here so you can have some notes and some key takeaways. Smaller size unlocks clarity. You see the chart, not the P&L. Now think about it. When you're staring at your screen, well, some of you are staring at your P&L the whole time. You're not worried what the stock's actually doing. That means that you have too much size. Consistency. Okay, each trade is not a life or death trade. There's gonna be more on this later, but just hold this thought. It's not life or death trade. Lastly, you keep your seat at the table. Remember, when you blow an account and your balance is zero, you're not gonna make any trades the next day because you did not keep your seat at the table. Your goal always is to be risk-minded and to preserve your capital. At the time I'm recording this, today was a brutally choppy day in the markets and high VIX. So any trade that went against traders, they got absolutely destroyed. And now they're going to be sitting at the dinner table with their wife and not going to be able to explain to her how they lost the house on 0 days. Here's the catch. Pros don't go big. Okay, I did not start off jamming 2,500 lots off the bat. No, consistent first, and then I go big. Now I know my setups, okay? A 30-minute 3-bar play, I'm gonna hit that. Big size. My reversals, I'm gonna hit it. Pretty decent size. But here's the thing. There's just one big catch. And this is extremely important. You need to, if you ignore anything I say, listen to this. You need to trade big enough to feel something, but not big enough to ruin everything. What do I mean by that? If you have $500 in your account, you shouldn't be trading, okay? This is not enough money to make a good trade. If you have $1,000, maybe we could talk about learning how to trade. But really, the sweet spot is a 5K account, because what happens? $500. Every trade you take, you have one chance, one life or death situation in order to make money for the day. A $1,000 account, you maybe have two, but you're not going to leave runners because it's a life or death situation. Think about it this way. One SPY 0 day right now is $2. Well, that's half your $500 account. Versus on a 5K account, it is a much less percentage, and that way they can actually hold the trades longer. They can practice, the rule of threes, scaling out their trades the right way. That is how you become consistent. Taking a really small amount of money, a few $100s, it's not going to do it. Versus a 5K account, if you make an extra 1K a week, I think we can all agree that making an extra $1,000 a week will help you feel something. But if you lose 1K in 1 week, it's not going to ruin everything. Okay, like your bills are gonna be still paid, especially with 5K to chuck in a brokerage. As long as you're not your last 5K, you're gonna be good. But it's enough for you to feel something, to practice good trades, good discipline, good scaling. I cannot stress this enough. If you have $500 in your account, it's really, really, really hard. Anyone that tells you they can grow it, they're lying. That is the key. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something, some key takeaways. Other than that, peace.